Welcome to Motivational Monday. This is Fred Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. Today, I'd like to share with you a personal story about my two boys that really encapsulate the process of thinking, and based on it, how you should really go into completely different industries as a result of it. I mean, I'm talking to them like as if they're here. What I would recommend that both of them go completely different industries because of the way they think. But before we start, make sure to smash the like button and do share, especially if you find value in this presentation. Okay, so this story goes back about 15 years ago. My eldest today is about 18. At the time, he was about 3. So let's go back 15 years ago. So we're in the kitchen and I see that he climbs up onto the kitchen counter. Now, the kitchen counter in my particular house at the time was quite high. And as a result, a couple of things here. He could slip, he could misstep, and he could fall down and get hurt, and obviously we didn't want that. So as a responsible father, especially a new father, I picked him up, I took him and put him down on the floor. I told him we don't do that, it's dangerous. So what did he do? Pushing the buttons, pushing boundaries, right, at a very early age. He takes the chair in the kitchen and he drags it to the counter, climbs up on the counter again. What am I supposed to do? I do it again. I take him down and I take the chair and I wedge it in such a way that he can't do anything to it. So what does he do? Goes into the other room, finds something else to play with, end of story. Now, if this same incident didn't happen again with my other son, there's no way I would have drawn the following conclusion. My second son, okay, this is about 5 years later, same story, climbs up by himself onto the kitchen counter. And again, as a responsible father, I take him, I put him down on the floor, and I tell them, no, we can't do that because it's dangerous. You could miss a step, you could slip, all that stuff. What does he do? He takes the chair in the kitchen, once again, he drags it to the counter and climbs back up on the counter. I take him down and I tell him again, no. I take that chair and I wedge in such a situation that he can't take it out. I wedge all the chairs in a situation that he can't take it out. And I thought, end of story, right? I've seen this movie before. I go back into my room and about 5 or 6 minutes later, I come back into the kitchen and guess what I see? He didn't wedge that chair. That chair was strong enough to be in its place and you couldn't move it. But he went into the living room, went into the dining room, took one of the heavy chairs in the dining room and dragged it all the way from the dining room, which was about 25, 30 feet, and it was around. He had to go around a couple of things, and he dragged it onto the counter so that he could climb up and go up on the counter. 2 children, same story almost, but the second one was very different than the first one. What did I draw to this conclusion? Okay, my eldest son is quite intelligent. They're both intelligent. It's just a difference of how they process information. My eldest son, his goal was to go up onto it. He achieved that goal, and he achieved it once again. And he only saw things that was in front of him. And in fact, he's a very good at concentrating. He's very good at what's in front of him, solving things, kind of math solutions. He loves that, okay? And he revels at it, but as long as it's in front of him. My second son, and this could be because he's partially ADHD, partially ADD, whatever it is, all that stuff. His goal was to go onto the counter. No one ever wrote the book about how I get to it. I could get to it any which way I want to. I could take a chair from the dining room and I could bring it in if that's my goal. If that's what is going to get me to show rebellion against my father, that's fine as long as I achieve my goal. And I saw all options on the table. Not better, not worse, just different processing. What I would recommend for those 2 children is to go into completely different businesses and completely different career paths whatsoever. The first one, I would probably suggest for him to do something that focus takes a lot of time, something like being a doctor or a surgeon, being a programmer, being someone, he actually happens to love a lot of electricity and a lot of, computer and stuff like that. So I would really recommend that he does that. And it's really what he's gravitating to today. The second son, I would suggest he does something more artistic, more creative, something that really takes a person a little bit away from the actual item for him to actually draw some sort of conclusion. Even being a scientist, okay? You don't have to be super, super smart to be a scientist. You just have to be someone that can remove yourself from that particular situation. And that's what he did. Many a times in life, and this you might relate to, and this is really the moral of the story. We have skills. We all have personal skills, but we find ourselves in industries or in businesses or in careers that don't complement our skills, our talents, our quam, okay? Many a time, we find ourselves in particular areas or in careers that don't serve us for the best. The true blessing is to do something that you have talent with that really takes you out of that and then projects it to the world and magnifies it. Because if you're doing something in a career that you're good at and that you can bring more to the life, you shine. You really bring out the best in you. And if there's one blessing that I could bestow upon either my children or to you, the audience, is that you do something that you're good at in the career that takes up all that talent. It really shines it and magnifies it to the world. A lot of people just settle on career paths because of money or because of lack of options, because they've boxed themselves in, and that's a real shame. The real blessing comes when you do something that you're good at in an industry that really gives you that option to really shine. And that's my blessing to you this week. Thank you for joining us for this Motivational Monday. We'll see you here next week.